Hello and welcome back to another Total War video we have for today. With the Game Awards fast approaching, and with it, Creative Assembly will be announcing their next Total War game, and has left many fans wondering what that next game could actually be, since Medieval 3 itself was announced to be in pre-production earlier this week. And in this video, I want to go over all the clues left in from the 25th anniversary event, and it all points to one thing, that the next Total War game will be none other than Total War Warhammer 40k. I was very unsure myself before the 25th anniversary, since 40k itself would be quite the undertaking for Creative Assembly to handle, but during the live event they revealed a new engine called Warcore, which all future titles will be made with. The first clue I got from the engine is that new games will be able to have much more destructible environments, letting the player and the AI able to make new paths or even flank an enemy unit. So this suggests that battles will take place in areas where the environment plays a much bigger role than it has in previous Total Wars, as well as the environment could be used for a cover system so you or the enemy can't just stay behind a wall forever and wait until the enemy runs out of ammo. Then another change is the animations for units. They'll now have a graph-based node systems, giving units more complex movements like strafing, which will be interesting to see. While they also mention that they can do more advanced vehicle movement, which hopefully means you'll be able to have a troop carrier with the units that can enter and disembark at will. I was excited to hear them talk about vehicle movement, since Total War has always had vehicles, but never to the extent where you can, take off in a helicopter and then land and disembark troops, or those same troops, re-embark and, move them somewhere else. Usually when you disembark troops, it's more of like a summon ability and then, an extra unit you have. But the main thing they wanted to talk about with the new animation is that a key part of the new system will be able to do much more bloody and visceral animations with more dismemberment, while also able to interact with the environment and terrain around it. They really wanted to preface that it will be much more gory than the old system, and not many franchises really have such bloody battles that you need to, emphasize on the gore, which sounds great for Warhammer 40k since it already is set in a universe that's quite dark, and we no longer need to buy blood packs for future titles, so this is just another thing that's pointing to 40k being actually real. And the last major thing they mentioned during the event is moving forward, the base games will be able to go on Xbox and PlayStation, which is just a huge step for Total War and will open up the franchise to a whole new set of players. They also made sure to say they won't be changing anything that is core to the Total War games just because they're going to be added to consoles, so it's still going to be the same franchise, just a bigger player base. So that would mean the next game is something even the console players who nothing of Total War would be interested in. It's also the reason why they chose to announce such a big title at the Game Awards, since this will be the biggest thing CA has ever done for a trailer. Now I know that isn't a whole lot of clues, kind of just info on what the new engine could do and the fact it'll be on consoles and announced during the Game Awards, but I have two pieces of major evidence left on why the next game will be Warhammer 40k. So during the showcase for the Warcore engine, on the side of the screen you can see the game files when they were selecting something, and if you slow down enough you can catch a glimpse of what will be in the next game, and that'd be a list of actions for a fleet like become evasive, disengage, and fire missiles. The cherry on top of all that is there's a symbol showing a planet, so just in case if you thought it was boats, it's definitely not boats. Once I saw this, I became very confident, and the next game would most likely be a Warhammer 40k game, or at the very least a game that includes space combat. And the final piece of evidence I saw while getting ready to make this video, I didn't find it myself, but the Total War Reddit did, so I'll have it post linked down below if you're interested. And this is more game files, so no icons, but it does say something very interesting. But it is kind of hard to read and it's in red text, but even with all that, you can clearly see the three files that start with 40k, and they go like this: 40k outfield sheet, 01 base color, material map, and normal. So this clearly means Warhammer 40k, since you can see the other files in the game, like you can see the files above the label 3k, which stands for clearly 3 kingdoms. So to me at least, I think this is our last clue on what the game could be, and while it did not seem possible for Creative Assembly to make a Total War Warhammer 40k game, but with the new engine, the emphasis on how bloody the battles can be, the new games coming to the consoles, and the files with the plant symbols, and even the words 40k, it kinda all points to this game being what we all think it's gonna be. It also helps that unlike Fantasy, 40k's story is still ongoing, and it has a huge galaxy map, so there's quite a lot of content they can go through. Not to mention the ties Creative Assembly has to Games Workshop because of the Warhammer Fantasy titles, and it makes sense why they wouldn't even show the new game off during their own anniversary event, but save it for basically one of the biggest events in gaming this year. And when you start to tie in all the clues together, as well as how many people have been asking for a game like this, it only makes sense that Warhammer 40k is what's next for Total War. Since I'm not a big lore guy myself on Warhammer, especially 40k, feel free to drop some lore bits in the comments or what factions might be in the base game for those of us who might not know what to expect out of a Warhammer 40k game. And that's going to wrap up the video. We'll know for sure what the game's going to be on the 11th and 12th during the Game Awards. Hopefully the release date for it isn't too far away, and I'll have a video covering whatever they release, so stay tuned on the channel for that tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching the video, I really appreciate it. Like and subscribe, it does help out the channel a lot, and I will see you guys next time.